Indictment is still under seal, so we do not yet know the specific charges that former President Donald Trump is facing.
His former president is speaking out, stating they are trying to impact an election, but he doesn't name who they are. Eyewitness News reporter Michelle Fisher is live in the newsroom with the very latest. Michelle?
David, Colleen, former President Donald Trump expected to surrender in New York early next week. Sources telling ABC News that an exact date has not been firmed up, but Tuesday is being discussed by Trump's legal team and the DA's office. This is the first time in U.S. history a president, current or former, has been criminally charged. While we know the grand jury has voted on this indictment, it is under seal, as mentioned, meaning that we don't yet know the exact charges Trump is facing. Those will be announced when Trump officially appears in court for an arraignment. The indictment is related to the grand jury investigation of payments made to porn actress Stormy Daniels during the 2016 campaign. Today, Trump releasing a statement maintaining his innocence, claiming this is, quote, political persecution. Michael Cohen, Trump's former attorney, who has already served time in relation to Stormy Daniels' case, also speaking out. Cohen saying, in part, I do take solace in validating the adage that no one is above the law, not even a former president. Today's indictment is not the end of this chapter, but rather just the beginning. Now that the charges have been filed, it is better for the case to let the indictment speak for itself. The two things I wish to say at this time is that accountability matters, and I stand by my testimony and the evidence I have provided to the District Attorney of New York. The attorney for Stormy Daniels, meantime, also issuing a statement saying, quote, the indictment of Donald Trump is no cause for joy. The hard work and conscientiousness of the grand jurors must be respected. Now let truth and justice prevail. No one is above the law. Experts telling us this legal process could take a while to play out.
How long this case takes depends an awful lot on Mr. Trump. He has known to vigorously contest attempts to hold him accountable in the courts, civil and criminal, in the past. And would not be a surprise if he similarly vigorously contested these allegations. The more resistance he puts up, the longer it will probably take. But that's something that his lawyers will negotiate with the Manhattan DA's office about a schedule for accepting a plea and or bringing this case to trial if it comes to that.
And in a new tweet, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy said that the House GOP will use its power to hold the Manhattan DA accountable. Worth noting, former President Donald Trump is also under investigation for his role in the deadly January 6th insurrection, potential election interference in Georgia, a civil lawsuit in New York for allegedly overstating the value of his assets, and for having top secret documents that were found at his home at Mar-a-Lago Resort. I'm live in the newsroom. Michelle Fisher, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Michelle, thank you. And joining us to talk about today's vote by the Manhattan grand jury is Congressman Adam Schiff. Congressman Schiff, it's great to see you. Well, you just heard Speaker McCarthy say the House GOP will use its power to hold the Manhattan DA responsible. What's your response to that?
It's a terrible abuse of power by the Speaker, or at least an attempt to do so. It is what we have seen of the GOP in the past, and that is they assume the role of criminal defense counsel for Donald Trump. We saw that in the Ukraine investigation, and we're seeing it again now. The Congress has no role in interfering with what a grand jury in New York does or the enforcement of state law in New York. This is a terrible, I think, attempt to interfere with what ought to be sacrosanct in our system, and that is that the law applies equally to everyone. No one gets a pass. If you're part of the rich or powerful, you don't get the Congress to intervene on your behalf. If Michael Cohen had to go to jail for his role in a scheme in which hush money payments were covered up to a porn star, and the indictment in that case said he was directed by someone named individual number one, who we now know was Donald Trump. If the guy who was directed has to go to jail, then what's the argument that the guy who did the directing gets a pass? It shouldn't work that way in our system, and according to the Manhattan District Attorney, it won't work that way. And that's as it should be.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how this is going to play out. But there are so many investigations going on. But if we talk specifically about this one, what do you see happening next?
Well, he will try to fight the charges and get them dismissed without a trial. So he'll try to take a legal issue. That will probably be unsuccessful. Now, it's hard for us to evaluate the strength of the evidence in the case. Since none of us were sitting in the grand jury, none of us heard the witnesses or could evaluate their credibility. At the end of the day, it will be up to the district attorney, I think, to prove to a jury Donald Trump's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a high standard. It should be a high standard since criminal prosecutions threaten to take someone's liberty away. But you can imagine that Donald Trump will use this to try to help him politically. He is already trying to exploit this politically. And sadly, we're seeing now others like Ron DeSantis in Florida use attacks on the Manhattan DA. Again, the sort of tired, sad, and tragic anti-Semitic attack that this must be part of a George Soros conspiracy. So you see other Republican presidential candidates joining in this attack on the rule of law. And this is why our democracy has been on such a fragile footing for the last several years.
Sort of unbelievable to watch that part. But so David just talked about it. What does this mean for the other investigations involving former President Donald Trump?
Well, I would imagine that these other investigations feel a sense of urgency. The Justice Department, for example, has been very slow to act. It's been more than 2 years since the attack on the Capitol on January 6th. They moved swiftly when it came to the foot soldiers who broke into the Capitol that day, but they moved very slowly to the ringleaders and to the former president and his role in trying to overturn the election. I'm sure the Justice Department would have liked to go first if indeed they end up pursuing these charges, but they have themselves to blame for how slowly they have acted on the evidence.
So you mentioned the January 6th attack. It was a difficult lesson for all of us, how quickly things can spin out of control. What security measures can we take to make sure that doesn't happen again with this case?
Well, I'm sure that the New York police and the FBI are doing everything they can to protect New Yorkers from the suggestions that Donald Trump is making. He issued a tweet the other day along the lines of, if he is indicted, it could unleash death and destruction. Those are the kind of comments he made before January 6th, when he urged people to be there, said it would be wild, said they needed to fight to take back their country. So law enforcement should be forewarned by the example of January 6th about the need to take extraordinary precautions. And I hope the public, too, learned something from the tragedy of January 6th, and people won't engage in that kind of violence again. But it is certainly concerning, though at the end of the day, if the evidence was there to charge him, he should be treated like anyone else. This is a validation of the rule of law, and we need to be willing to confront any consequences of that, but there's no shying away from the need to follow the evidence in the law.
Congressman Adam Schiff, I know you're super busy, so thank you so much for spending some of your time with us today.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mark Brown. Get more great ABC7 content by clicking the subscribe button for our YouTube channel and download the ABC7 Los Angeles streaming app on Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, and Roku to watch on your TV.